Good evening, guys. I am here for the Joshin-Strike podcast with Ben the Legend, the owner of Semper Fi Esports. Now, first of all, okay, how did the Semper Fi name came up? Okay, like who picked the name?
I kind of picked the name. When I was looking names up. I like the Latin kind of
Mm-hmm.
names, and the Semper Fi name popped up just during a search. It's the Marine Corps logo for. It means always faithful, always honourable. And it kind of made sense, it's a fighting game, and Marines are fighters, and they look after each other, and when they're together as a team, I don't know, it sounded good for me. Well, it's actually Semper Fidelis,
Yeah.
but they shortened it to Semper Fi.
Yeah.
And actually, it was interesting. I watched a movie the night after I decided it. It's just a B grade movie, and one of the characters said to one of the other characters, Semper Fi. So I stopped it and took a photo. So I think that was an omen.
So you didn't choose Carpe Diem, which means seize the day, or Caveat Emptor, which means buyer beware.
I didn't choose any of them. No.
Oh
No.
man, or Peter Fache on first instance.
No. See, you're way advanced for me. I don't know. I know.
Nah, it's all this law talk, man. That's all I'm gonna say.
I know Natus Vincere or something. That's Navi. So.
That Navi, yep. Oh crap, I forget what Navi stands for, but either way. But anyways,
I looked it up.
Anyways, what got you into esports initially? As obviously a father of Savage.
Yeah. So James Savage. That's actually his last name. Not related to Justin. We didn't know Justin at the time. James was about 10. He was playing Minecraft. And he was very good at Minecraft. He'd go to all the holiday things. He was pretty good at it. And it's very similar movements, so that the mouse and the keypad is pretty much the same.
Yeah.
And he started playing Counter-Strike at about 10. So I used to make him play in the living room on my computer, so I could see what he was doing. And I walked past one night and saw him playing Counter-Strike, and I didn't know what it was. I had no idea. So I said, "What's this?" And he told me, and I started to investigate the game and have a look at it. And I thought, wow, this is a pretty cool game. So I love the teamwork. The main thing about it I loved it was the teamwork and the amount of strategy and tactics involved in it.
Yeah.
It's not just a running around like Fortnite where you just run around, just shoot everyone. The last one standing wins. It's a real proper sport in my mind. So I let him. I said, okay, if you want to play that, you can play it. So yeah. But I always said to him, you have to do school. You have to play footy, because I was coach of his footy team 5. And they have to do cricket in the summer, so footy and cricket. So you got to go to training, you got to play on the weekends. You got to do your schoolwork, right?
Yeah.
And outside of that, you can do whatever you want. If you want to play this all day, every day, you can do it. But so yeah, that's how it came about. He started playing Counter-Strike at about 10, and he was initially he was just playing DM. No, he's playing matchmaker.
Yeah.
And then he was trying to get to, I don't know, what is it, Golden rank, to get the top rank.
Yeah.
Global, was it Global
Elite? Global Elite, yep.
Global Elite. He's trying to get to that, right? So, and he started getting really good. And then we started asking questions, because we knew nothing about the pro scene.
Yeah.
So we were talking to a few people, trying to find out how does it all work, and they just said, just keep grinding away. They mentioned Face It, then Face It came in. So he got onto Face It, and then he started getting ranks in Face It, and went through all the different ranks there, and finally made it to FPL, I think, Pro.
Yeah, FPL, yep.
Yeah, I'm a bit lost. I've got videos of him actually making. It's pretty cool. So
it's pretty good.
We'll release them soon. So, and then clearly he was playing against Inns and all the people that he looked up to,
Yeah.
Inns, Dexter. I think he even played with JKS a couple of times, and so he started getting noticed, and then when he turned 16, he got picked up straight away. So that's how it happened. He actually asked me when he was about 12 to take him to IEM Sydney.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, he was 12, and he said, "Oh, Dad, can we go to see a big tournament in Sydney where all the pro teams are coming?" And I had no idea how big this was. So,
Yeah.
So I said, "Well, okay, yeah." So I booked tickets, B&B, and we flew there, and it was at Kudos Bank Arena, obviously.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking I thought it was just going to be a little LAN, a couple hundred people. And I remember walking in. First of all, the foyer where all the got Intel, you got
all the convention. Yep.
Yeah, all the setup, and then I thought, wow, this is pretty professional. And then we walked into the stadium, and it's full, and I just thought, wow, this is impressive. And I've got a video of that too, so hopefully all this video stuff comes out at some point. But I remember looking around again. I remember turning to him and said, "Yeah, you got to get pro. This is awesome."
Was that your first event that you've been to, like, of Savages, or did Savage go to like a lot of local lands as well?
No, yeah. So that was So I took him to a local land down at what's it called? Landslide, I think it's called.
Yep.
Landslide.
Yep.
Landslide, and the guys running Landslide down on the beach. Anyway, it's on the beach in Melbourne.
Yeah.
So I did take him to that. The first one he went to, he was playing with a couple of guys, mates. They got beaten. Actually, one of the first lands he played was against the best Aussie chick. What's her name? Bibian.
Bibian, yep.
Yeah, so Bibian was there playing.
Mm-hmm.
But he got beaten by them, and he said to me, "Dad, she's a pro. Like." So he's always sort of looked up to Bibian. And I think they came third or fourth or something like that. And then he went back. And then he went back the next year, and then he went back the next year. So he's gone from sort of 11 and 12 to 13, 14. And then I think he missed a year, it was something COVID or something.
Yeah.
And then he got picked up in a team and was doing really well. And then to his credit, he went back again. He didn't have to go back. He did. And they ended up winning. So that was one of his first lands he won. And I did drop him off at a land in the showgrounds, the Melbourne showgrounds. I had one. I've got a picture of him winning his first land there. So
that's pretty good.
So when he said, "I'll go to Sydney," IEM Sydney, I kind of didn't realise how big it was. Like, I just thought it'd be something like that, maybe a little bit bigger, but I had no idea how big that was. I mean, you know how big it is, and we all know
definitely.
now.
Yep.
It's a different world, and I'm obviously a little bit older, so we didn't experience that well. I used to play Ataris and Gallagher and Pac-Man and stuff like that.
Actually, so, going into that in particular, what do you do, like, as a career-wise in particular?
So I was at Telstra as an account exec at Telstra. So I was corporate, looking after corporate. And then when James was about 3, it's hard work. Everything's hard work, but
definitely
long hours. So I wanted to be able to take him to school and pick him up and drop him off and do his footy training and all that sort of stuff. So I got out of Telstra and started my own. So I got a little excavator, which I'm still doing today. But hopefully we do well and we qualify for Dragon High, then I can not do that anymore.
Oh, come on. You gotta love those earth-moving businesses, okay? Because I was thinking about that, because I saw you out in the farm areas and regional areas. I'm like, does he own a farm or does he do land moving? Because, and that's what I was wondering.
That's the Magpie video.
Yeah, that one, yeah.
Yeah. No, so I used to, I was pretty good at motorsport. So that's where I grew up in karting, and like, so I know Ricardo pretty well. I don't know Piastri. He was too young, but Weber and Ricardo I know. like I could say hello to them. They know who I was from karting and stuff. So, and all the supercar guys like Carpet.
Oh, were you a driver as well? Like, did you do like V8s and stuff like that? Like, what events did you do?
Yeah. So I did that. I was pretty good at karting. I did the World Championships, and I went to Oscars. So the Thunderdome. So it's kind of like NASCAR.
Yeah.
My stepbrother went to Formula Ford when we were younger, and obviously NASCAR or Oscar died off, and the Formula Fords kept going. So my stepbrother's raced at Bathurst 10 or 12 times. Yeah, so that was my calling. Yeah.
Well, what made you like not pursue it? Like in motorsports, was it just not getting in, or was it just other things took over?
So yeah. Well, I didn't understand. I just thought if you were the best at it, you'd make it. But there's a whole machine behind you too. You got to have marketing, money. You know, so I didn't realize that. So I didn't make it. But it's not about me. It's about James. But James, when he was younger, I took him for a little go-kart drive because I could have got him stuff for free. So I could have got him go-karts and everything for free.
Yeah.
And I took him for a drive, but he spun out and crashed and had a big throwaway. He was only about 7. But, so I'm glad he didn't go down that path because it cost so much money. So when he decided to, want to go down this path as a pro esport gamer, he'd ask me for a new mouse. It cost $150. Deal. He wanted skins for his birthday. What do you want for your birthday, James? He goes, can you buy me I didn't even know what a skin was, right? So I bought him a skin, and it's much cheaper to get. But it's a very similar in terms of the people who make it is the same as motorsport. It's the top. It's the same as any sport.
Yeah.
Only the top 1% make it. Like it's hard work. He puts in. Josh. They put in a lot of hours.
Oh, definitely.
To the skill level they get to. They don't just, And James only ever played Counter-Strike. He didn't play any other game.
Because I was thinking about it in particular, because one of the NFL players quoted this. So actually, I think it was one of the self-help guys I follow who's like real down to earth. Like he's not one of those guys that fluff up stuff. He basically said, like, as a NFL player in particular, because he used to do boxing, he was just like, there's likelihood if you play NFL at high school that you may never play against a pro player. Like it's that minute. Like the percentage, I think it's like you have more chance of getting struck by lightning twice than becoming a pro player.
Yeah, and I think it's similar in esport. It's just that there's there are a couple of tenths, not even maybe a tenth of a second, just a little bit faster with their mouse, bit quicker with their keyboard. Like they're just it's something that you've either naturally got or you don't. You can work really hard at it and do okay out of it, but guys like Nico and Simple and Donk and those sort of guys, then they're naturally talented at it. You can't teach that. You've either got it or don't.
I think overall, like I disagree with that kind of, but there's two sorts of players in the esports scene, and you're correct, and there's some talent involved. There's people who've got talent, and there's people who've worked really, really hard, and you can tell between the two particularly, especially in games where they'll say they're down 6-12, okay, and they've got to make up 6 rounds to get back. You can tell the ones who put in the hard work because they'll grind that chain to get it back. And then the people who are talented, where like when that happens to them, they may go into their shell and whatnot, not know how to deal with it. But I think it's a combination of both. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, if you've got... I mean, when I talk about that that last percent, I'm talking about blokes that have got the natural talent and put in the work. So they're your Simples, they're your Zywood, they're Nico's, Donk. So, but then you've got the ones just under them, like, that put in even more than those guys to some extent. And they'll never beat a Nico but they put in that much work that they are that good at it, and they're still very, very highly talented. It's a difference between Max Verstappen, say, and I don't know, Alex Albon. Like, they're pretty close. Alex Albon's a gun driver, but he's just not on the same Verstappen, and even he knows that.
Yeah.
But he works his ass off, and he's in Formula One, and good on him. But yeah, I think a lot of people just think, oh, I'll just get on and play and play and play, and I'm going to make it to the pro scene. It's not that easy. You know, you've got to have the natural talent to get to that last 1%.
Yeah. With the esports and motocross, not motocross, sorry, motorsport. Yeah, I've almost made you into a bike driver, mate. You could have been on the dirt track. But what's any key differences between esports and motocross in particular? Like, other than the money, like any key differences that, or even same similarities where they blend in with each other?
Yeah, there's heaps. Yeah, it's a really good question, Josh. There's heaps. And I notice it just watching him play.
Yeah.
It's the minute details. So it's hundredths or tenths or hundredths of a second that you're a little bit faster at reacting, which is all motorsport. I mean, you look at the motorsport, you look at the Formula Ones and their supercars. There's a couple of tenths difference, 2 or 3 tenths of a second. You can't even that's 3 tenths.
Yeah.
And you can be first or 20th grid.
Yep.
So it's similar. I think it's very similar in that respect. So it's the reaction time. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of similarities. I really do. I think most sports are the same. I think it's
any differences at all, or nah?
Well, obviously there's the physical side of motorsport. You've got to be physically fit because of the G-force and stuff. But that's the only difference. Although that's kind of changing, I think, a little bit in esport, especially in the last 4 or 5 years, where the players now that are the best, you can see that they're taking care of their bodies. They're going to the gym. They're eating well.
You got a performance manager as well and all that stuff as well.
Yeah, and that's one of the challenges. So while it's not a physical sport, I mean, in terms of aerobic sport, there's still a physical aspect to it because these guys will play for 5 or 6 hours. I mean, some of the majors go for 4 or 5 hours, right? If they do 5 maps.
Yeah. And
that ability to concentrate for that long, that's hard work. Like that's a physical. To me, that's physical.
Yeah.
Brain work. So if you're physically strong, your body's strong. I think that helps your mind, and I think the top teams are starting to realize that, and that's why you don't see any couch potatoes anymore. That they're all pretty fit and they take care of their body. So there's a lot of similarities in terms of the business side. There's a lot too. I've noticed there's a lot. I think esports is going through something that motorsport went through, and even AFL in the 90s and that, where the teams are trying to get sponsors, and they get sponsors, and then they burn the sponsors, and the sponsors never come back to the sport. It happened in motorsport.
Yeah.
Trying to sort out the business models. How do you set up a team so that it's sustainable long term, that sort of stuff, without winning major events and things like that. It's going through that. I think esports is at a very embryonic stage. You can see it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I gotta say, I think there's only really 2 teams that have realized that aspect. One of them's bankrupt, which is the Copenhagen Flames, but that's a different story. But Team Endpoint is definitely one of them, 100%, where they are not only just a team in England, they also provide all those facilities in England. And I believe, did you use any of those or no when you went over there?
No. We we didn't. No, I think we nearly did, but we ended up deciding to do a boot camp in Latvia, just because 2 of the boys we got from Latvia, so it was a bit cheaper.
For some reason, I thought you guys were in Sheffield for some reason. I must have been getting the wrong team.
So that's LFO. So LFO would. But then when James moved to the UK.
Yeah.
Well, should we talk about why James was even there?
Yeah, we should. Let's go through it. With the move to Europe in particular, okay, and obviously going to the UK, what triggered that move initially? Was it more of like, let's go to Europe, see how we can go there, more opportunities, or was it more any different reasons for it?
What's that for LFO?
Oh, for James in particular, going and staying in Europe.
Oh yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. So so James got a, he played for GG Howe, the Chinese org.
Yep.
He got picked up by them,
Mm-hmm.
and he was over there for about 3 to 4 months, and then there was some issues with the contract. Him and King is the other guy who's obviously on Semper Fi, but
Yep.
that's where I met Kane. But
Yep.
there was some issues with that, and then so James came back to Melbourne,
Mm-hmm.
and he ended up getting a job here, and
Mm-hmm.
and he's got a girlfriend and stuff like that. So he was kind of content, and he was just going to just play some local teams here. I mean, really at the time there was only FlyQuest. That was the only team that was getting paid. Vertex stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Rooster, I don't think.
Yeah, Roosters, the bedroom org. Yep.
Yeah, so really the only team. So James was just happy to sort of chill out. He was still going to play, and we were sitting on the couch. I don't know when it was early this year,
Mm-hmm.
and I said to him, there was a time about I think I was about 22, a bit older than he is now, but
Yeah.
when in the motorsport, when I was doing motorsport, and I was pretty decent,
Mm-hmm.
where I probably should have just packed up and gone Europe.
Yeah.
I thought I was good enough, so if I think I'm good enough, why don't I do that? But I got too comfortable here.
Mm-hmm.
I had my girlfriend, I had a good job.
Yeah.
I was just comfortable, so I didn't do it. Right. And I kind of regret that in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this conversation with him, and I said, you're 19, you don't have, you don't have any holding here. You can go. You can just go.
Mm-hmm.
Just go for a year. Just try. Just see how you go. And I think he just decided, all right, I'm going to go. So we made some calls and talked to a few people.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, got a spot in Sprout.
Yep.
So to his credit, he's only 19. He just packed up and went over there. He stayed with a family friend for about a month. Then he had to get his own place. And then he went to Sprout boot camp. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether people know, but yeah, during the boot camp, Sprout folded. So
Yep.
he was left stranded in
Germany.
in the UK.
Oh, they're in the UK.
Well, I was in Germany, yeah, but he got flown back. But he just paid a 6-month deposit down on his apartment in Sheffield. He went to Sheffield.
Yep.
He felt comfortable there because that's where LFO went. So
Yep.
so yeah. So now he's just sort of playing like. Well, he hasn't got a team. He's not getting paid. He's getting money again.
Yeah.
But to his credit, he did. He set stuff up, and that's when I started thinking about sex. I thought,
Okay.
yeah.
So it's more of like kind of, when he started, really committing himself to it, you're just like, hey, I'm going to help him out, setting up the, good structures and all.
Yeah, it was kind of. I was thinking, how do I do it? He got. I just thought, I'm sick of him. It happened to him a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
What
happened to him
when
a
he was
couple
with
of times, or like?
Well, when he was in LFO,
Yep.
they were a really good team.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone had to just come along and support them,
Yep.
then that would have been fantastic. It never sort of happened. I mean, it kind of did at the end when they turned into Encore.
Yep.
And Carl helped them, but then Carl got in a couple of players who came in and played and demanded pretty good salary, and that didn't happen. So then that folded. Then he went to GG.
Who's Carl, sorry?
Carl's the guy who owned the Encore.
Oh, okay. Does he have a gaming tag or anything like that, or nah?
Nah, he used to play. He used to play in early 2000s, and he started his own company.
Okay.
He's a lovely guy. Yeah, he's awesome, Carl.
Mm-hmm.
But he tried to make it happen, and that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And then James went to Vertex, and I don't know what happened there. But he signed a contract. This is a problem with. So in my head, I'm thinking, what's wrong with this industry? Like, what?
Yeah.
When you sign a contract, to me, like I'd prefer not to sign a contract. You shake my hand, that's it. Where it's done.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it. I'll shake your hand. That's my word. Like, but we got to do contracts, but they're not even worth the paper they're written on. Like, it's really annoying to me. And so he got messed over by that.
Yeah.
Then he went to GG Howe, got messed over by that. Then he went to England, packed up his whole life, went there, and then he got stuffed over by that. Not his fault, not Sprout's fault, obviously, but everything kept happening to him. And I thought, you know what? Why don't I just start my own one and get him?
Yeah.
And get a couple of gun Aussie kids, but a couple of Europeans. I was thinking, I've got to get a couple of Europeans.
You did the full. You did the full Thanos routine and went, fine, I'll do it myself.
Thanos, is that
Marvel?
Is that
Marvel character?
Marvel?
Yeah. You got
probably. Yeah.
At the end of the first movie, he's like, fine, I'll do it myself after Loki failed.
Okay. Yep. I got it. Yeah. But Thanos was evil. I'm not evil.
Oh no, I'm not saying you're evil. I'm just saying like that. Like that's it. I hate dealing for other people. I'm just gonna do it myself now. Okay.
Yeah. So that's where it started. And I talked to you, said, what if I could start it myself? Let's start a team. Let's try and beat FlyQuest or challenge them at least. A bit like what Vertex did. Vertex nearly got there. They were close. And even Rooster got better and better. Yep. I love Rooster. I admire Rooster in a way because they stuck together, those five for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And I don't think they were getting paid. They never know.
No, I don't think they were getting paid at all.
Yeah. And they trusted each other and they stayed because they were always third or fourth to FlyQuest or Renegades at the time. LFO or Encore, and then even Vertex, and then it was Rooster, right? Rooster always fourth.
Yeah,
but they just stuck. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a Rooster was like an interesting one because before Savage came along, Rooster was seen as the outsiders, and not many people liked them too much. But they really proved themselves over time to be like a real loyal squad in particular.
They were, yeah.
Like they had Chelios, I think they had Nedic on for a while. The funny thing is, the most recent new player with that 80k roster was, funnily enough, ASAP. Okay, which I didn't believe that at the time, but I'm like, oh yeah, they always had 80k, but ASAP is there. Yeah, he is the newest person on that roster. But
yeah, so I just thought it's a good way to start something and try and compete against them, and maybe create an org with, I don't know, a bit of honor, So that's. But I always thought to compete, I love the idea of getting a couple of Europeans.
Yeah.
And I do talk to Eric Wendell, who's the
I'll find his name. I do know who you're talking about.
He's the NIP Ninjas CEO.
He's a NIP. I think he's the ex-NIP CEO. I'm trying to remember. No, still director at NIP actually.
No, he's the CEO. No, you're talking about
Mr. Gunderson. Never mind.
You're talking about Jonas Gunderson.
Yeah, Jonas Gunderson. Okay, yeah. I was like going I know he resigned. I'm like, is that the CEO? But I know Eric is obviously a NIP. But I'm like, which one resigned?
So I spoke to Eric. I don't think you mind me saying this. And I said to him, why don't you guys, why doesn't the European team start, how they have their academy team?
Yep.
Why don't you start a team in Australia and call it the Young Ninjas or something like that? Yep. Or the Aussie Ninjas. Not the Ninjas, they've already got that. The Aussie Ninjas.
Yep.
And he said, oh, look, it's a great idea, but we're not allowed. We can't do it. We can't only for a certain amount. We can only enter one team in an RMR, blah, 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 right? So, but he liked the idea, and then I told him what I was thinking, getting 2 Europeans to come here, to put together with 3 Aussies, just to, because the Europeans, I mean, they even James been over there for 4 months. He's been playing. He was telling me how there's just so many of these kids have been playing like him.
Yeah.
So, and there's not only 2 or 3 of them. There's literally hundreds of them.
Yeah.
So you just get better and better and better. So I thought, if I can convince a couple of the European guys to come here and play for me, I'm not going to get tier 1 players. But tier 2, you know, on the verge of tier 1,
Yeah.
I reckon I could get with the you know, with the carrot of making a major.
Yeah.
And that's when the whole idea kicked in. Oh, yeah, okay, well, if I can get a couple of Europeans, so that's when I talked to Kane, Twisted, and he was umming and ahhing, blah blah blah.
It's a big decision. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's flying halfway across the world, and
Exactly.
I mean, he did it at GG Howe, and I did meet him in China. I went to China with James, and I met Keen, so I got to know him, and the time in Latvia when I saw him, he's an amazing IGL. Like I've seen a lot of IGLs. Well, the ones I've seen,
yeah,
he's off the charts good. Like I can hear him. I can hear what he's saying and how he's communicating what they want to do mid round stuff. He's so clear, concise. He's really good, Josh. I'm telling you, he's gonna be the difference. He's very, very good, very, very clever and very smart.
Are you sure he's better than APOC though? Okay, Tom is very good at feeling like I'm in a meditation session or at a yoga clinic. Okay, you could probably put that music on, and Tom's calls would be like, you know, raindrops. You know, by Tom.
Yeah, Tom's awesome. Well, when I was working out what Australians, Aussie, I need 3 Aussies, right? Obviously, I'm getting James. I would never have done it if I did James. And I was talking to Tom a fair bit. And, yeah, he would have been good, but he's got circumstances that can allow him to do it. But yeah, I can see his understanding of the game is very high.
Oh, definitely.
And he actually, yeah, we actually talked to him. Keen and James talked to him a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's good. But no, but Keen, yeah, he's gonna be interesting to see how we go.
Yeah. Actually, I want to ask a few other questions, particularly because you mentioned Nip obviously as well, because your first experience at ESL Pro League, I believe it was Encore, was obviously being on the ESL interview as well. How like
with Heku,
with Heku, and then you also had Rez and Savage were really good mates as well at one point.
Yeah.
Because Rez really loved the Aussies. How was that, you know, being at ESL Pro League? Like, you know, how was that experience overall?
Yeah, well, so that was the first. So when James moved over, they went over. The LFO boys went over and stayed in Sheffield for about a month and a half. And James had never met APOC, Licky, Sterling, and Hazza. They'd been playing online together because it was during COVID. So
yeah,
never actually. And James was only 16 at the time, so all of a sudden he's flying halfway across the world to meet them. And first time he met them was literally at the airport. So. So I thought, you know what, he's 16. I'll go over there and stay for a bit and meet the guys and make sure he's safe, and happy, shit like that. Anyway, so we went to Germany. We were going to go to Malta, but they changed it to COVID.
Yeah, studio.
In Germany. Yeah, so we're in Germany, and then their coach, they had kind of a coach at the time. What's his name? Do you remember his name?
Huds, I believe.
Huds, yeah, Huds. Oh, Huds is going to kill me. Yeah, so Hud's a lovely guy, right? So he got COVID the first match. They played G2 in the first match.
Oh, is that right? It's easy. Just kill Nico and you've got it.
Kill Nico. So I was sitting in the players' lounge next to the guy who coached G2.
Yep.
After that, I forget his name. Is it Swanee or something?
I'm going to say, was it Swanee? I'll double check, but I think it would have been Swanee. G2 Swanee. Yep. Because obviously G2 went through a lot of coaches. I'm just like, which one at this timeline? But I think it would have been Swanee,
I'm pretty sure Swanee. He's a young guy, and he was sitting next, just me and him on the couch watching G2 versus obviously LFO, and I was going nuts. And I was saying to this guy whom I didn't know at the time was the analyst.
Yeah, he was. Swanee was the analyst at the time, but yes, you're correct.
Yeah, and then I think he became coach anyway. So I was giving him heaps of shit about we're going to beat you. He ended up not. They did all right, but then Hud's got COVID, so then the boys said, "Oh, you should stand behind us," and I thought, "Oh yeah, well, that's when I flag." And then we beat Ninjas in the first, I think the first map overpass. We beat them, and that was their map pick, and that's when Heku came up and wanted to interview me, and then we ended up losing to the Nip. But the next morning, we'll walk around and everyone's saying, "Oh, let's see what happened." I had no idea. I didn't even have a Twitter account, so it was really interesting because I'm getting into the lift with with Munnessy and stuff, and Munnessy knew who I was. That was weird. Like I'd known these guys, Nico and all these guys.
It's more like being starstruck.
I'd been watching them. Oh, I was starstruck. Yeah, it was great. They knew who I was. I didn't know how because I didn't have social media stuff. So
yeah,
but it was so cool. And then I obviously met DJL. That's right, him.
Have you ever talked to DJL about his stand-in performance for Gamer Legion ages ago? Because I think it was before that.
No, I haven't. No.
Okay, so DJL stood in for Gamer Legion during the relegations because I think Gamer Legion went for a big change and they need to have a core 3. And the problem is they only had a core 2. But DJL was the coach and he was there during it. And basically, I'd say probably saved Gamer Legion in general.
Yeah, wow.
And DJL put on a pretty decent performance to keep them up in the SA Premier.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, well, he obviously knows the game really well. He was actually really nice at the time. I talked to him and I asked him to come in and chat with the LFO boys just about how a tier 1 team operates. So Daniel came in and talked to him for an hour. He didn't give any away.
Yeah, of course.
So we got on really well. I actually spoke to DJL about 8 months ago when I was talking to him about doing something like this, starting an Australian.
Yeah.
Because he left NIP, and I said Daniel, why don't you come down to Australia, mate? You live in my job. Let's put a team together. You coach him. We'll make a major. Like zumming and ahhing, and now he's at freaking Talent. Like that was my idea.
You can't copyright that, mate. I did a law degree, Ben. I don't think you can go after the cease and desist. You can't be able to tell them knocking a door, cease and desist. It's my idea.
Well, see what happens. I got into trouble for a tweet that I put out about Talent.
No, we're not gonna talk about it because I even told you off about that one in particular. But you know, it'd be funny. You know, it'd be funny if Talon has to go offline, and I'll be like, Ben was right. Cease and desisting actually does work.
See what happens. Hey, it's going to be interesting.
It's going to be interesting. Like I gotta say with the RMR, Asia RMR in general, it's gonna be a very interesting BO3, especially as long as the seedings aren't all messed up and like Talon and Semper Fi get into a BO1, which is gonna be like, you know.
Hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It'll be bad for one of us, I guess. I mean,
definitely.
It'll be bad for one of us. Probably bad more for them, but.
To be fair, I think it'd be bad overall for the scene because you got a really good game. Yeah. Like it's just for example, during Esports World Cup, I'm not sure if you knew this or not, but they had Rare Atom versus I think it was Chingus or something like that, and they also had Tyloo v Lin Vision.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, no, it was Rare Atom v Mongos and Tyloo v Lin Vision, and they chose to cast a Rare Atom game, and I'm just like, bro, he doesn't know Chinese CS.
Yeah.
But
so. We'll see what happens. Look, I think it'll be all right, but I think we'll both get through and we'll have a bit of fun with Rooster and all the boys, Vanty.
Oh, definitely. Let's get to our first subject actually for the podcast, which is who is Semper Fi? Like, who is in your team?
So, can I quickly have a quick break?
Yeah, sure.
Toilet break.
Yeah, you can have a quick toilet break. Okay.
You're gonna have to cut that out.
Oh, I can.
Is that cool?
Yeah, it's all good.
I'll be 1 minute, Josh.
Yeah, it's all good. Okay, guys, we'll go to a quick break as Ben takes a break. Once he's back, we'll be all good to go. As on YouTube, you guys won't hear this at all, okay? Yeah, I guess the interview took 40 minutes. Okay, that's probably why. Nah, you know what? I should just keep this in anyway. But anyways, so far it's been really, really good. I actually got to learn a lot. I didn't know Ben was into motor vehicles, motor cars, stuff like that, and go-karting. I always knew that with go-karting in particular, that if you want to get to F1s, you have to do go-karting and then get into the cars and then it goes elsewhere like that. I didn't know he was into that in particular. And you learn a lot about people in general as well. Like, people take a lot of different winding roads in life. Like, he was an exec in Telstra. Then he went, he was also in motor cars as well, go-karting. I guess the ads with Telstra, everywhere, man, is literally true in a way, because now he's doing, like, earth moving and stuff like that. It's just like, jeez. It's quite a journey, okay? Like, most people think that, the older generation has gone to one job and that's it. And it definitely isn't like that. Like, Ben's had an experience, and now he's into helping out his son with esports. Like, it's kind of like script in a way, where like you didn't think scripts like would be like, when you think a lot of CS players, you don't think that they would be top tier sporting at background in particular. And like scripts like bowling to like Virat Kohli and Steven Smith and stuff like that as well. It's just like, holy moly, like that's how blown away I am. Like, how different stuff people go for and whatnot. And if someone interviewed me, it would be like, yeah, Josh, what did you do? I played games a lot. I'm good at maths, and I'm a financial advisor. And everyone's just like, yeah, it's probably pretty typical for him, okay? Or it'll be like, fucking nerd. But yeah, it's been I learned a lot. Like, shit. I'm just amazed. Like, sometimes you just learn like incredible things about people in general. Like, yeah, I just like doing this sort of stuff in particular. Like, when I did my podcast, I was just sitting there being like, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm just like sitting there like, do I have to really have any idea of what I'm doing? Like, really? Like, no, I don't. I just have to do whatever. So yeah. So yeah, just been really, really enjoying it in particular. Now I think Mav started their own podcast as well. I reckon that's going to go really well. But I think it's probably something that Australia probably needed for a very long time, is just someone to really highlight the scene and just humanize
All
the
right,
scene. We all good to go
we're
back?
back. We're back, Joshy.
We're back. Now I was just talking about overall, like, the stuff that we
Yeah.
learned about you and stuff like that. I might actually keep it in for the YouTube video, because, like, let's just say for your journey in particular, you've gone from go-karting and motorsports, Telstra exec, land moving, esports. It's like a crazy journey.
Well, I also was a professional poker player for a year.
Oh, I think we should have stuck with the interview, okay? How did a professional poker player playing go before we get to Semper Fi? Like, how did it go? Like, well, what did you learn?
Yeah. I did really well.
Mhm.
I did really well. Yeah. I mean, it's a long story. People probably thought about it. You can look me up on poker. Just type in Ben Savage Poker. You'll see.
Yeah. Do you have a cool nickname at least?
No, it's just Ben Savage Poker.
Oh, come on. We need a cool nickname, Ben. You know what? If you ever get back into poker, we are making a cool nickname for you, okay? Like, you have the aviators on and just be like the assassin, okay? The cowboy.
Well, the name Savage is pretty cool. I mean, that's why James called himself. That's why James called himself Savage, because it's a cool name, right? So we had no idea about JKS, like zero. He was only 10. We didn't know JKS. JKS was Renegades, like that. So he used to call himself Jedi Savage. He played Minecraft, but when he did Counter-Strike games, I can't say Jedi Savage, too young.
Yeah.
So he just cut it down to Savage, big S, V. But it was just because it's his name. It wasn't JKS. Yeah. No, there's no nicknames in poker. You just who you are.
Yep. So let's just get back.
I lost. Sorry, go on.
No, let's get back on track with Semper Fi. Like, what's the roster? Who's the coach? Introduce me to your entire team and what they do.
So, well, we don't have a coach. I don't have enough coach. Clearly, DJL. He got offered more money to go to Talon. So obviously James, son. I wouldn't have done it without him. He knocked back a pretty good deal. He got offered a pretty good role in Europe, and he held off until I get the money. So I got James. Then we've got Valiance, Matty. Val was a good one. He was a really good get because
definitely 100%. Like,
yeah, he's, and I spent a bit of time with him, obviously, away. I picked him up actually, take him to the airport. And we travelled.
yeah,
Got to know Matty really well. He's quiet, but man, he is sharp. He's super sharp, and he's quiet, but really, really clever. And it was a perfect timing in a way. In fact, I think Conky said to me, oh, I was looking for players. I need to get 2 Aussie players. Who do you recommend? And he mentioned Value, Matty, because he was coming back because he did quit for a little while.
yeah, he did. Yeah, I would have recommended Valiance 100% as well. Like, if you were looking for anyone.
Yeah, and I can see why. Like he's, and talking to him on the plane and all the time I spent, he when he was in order, they were really close. In fact, they qualified a couple times and got called off. Like he's been really, really close to making majors, and probably should have a couple times. And especially he had a couple of big battles with LFO, the order LFO battles where LFO just pipped them. So kind of, it was awesome in a way. It was almost fate and destiny that we got him.
Yeah. So also as well, when Vertex went to CCT, particularly, like, Valiance was really giving Bad News Eagles an absolute rough time. Like, he was just giving them 1Ds as well. Like, they're winning half by rounds, and I'm sitting there like, shit, Valiance is now turning up.
Yeah. And Val's, I could see in there when they were scrimming, when they were doing boot camp, he with Keen's IGLing, he was loving it, because he's a quieter guy. He's quiet, but when he's got some when he knows his roles and that, knows what he has to do, he's super, super sharp and really intelligent, like really good in-game sense and stuff. So he's a massive pickup, in my opinion. Massive pickup. I had no idea he was coming back, and he deserves a shot at a major. So.
Oh, definitely. And most importantly, is he getting the hat put back on to his HLTV profile picture?
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know about the hat, but we'll sort that out, Josh. We'll try and sort that out.
He has the Clark Kent. He's the Clark Kent super thing. Like, he puts the cap on. It's just a normal. Yeah. He's just valid. Off. Who is he?
Off. He's off. Yeah. So I'm super excited for him. He's he deserves something to happen.
Yep.
So hopefully we can make that happen. So I got Val. He interviewed really well with Keen and Jane. Super smart about the game stuff. So I think he's an anchor.
But definitely good anchor. He anchors B Inferno with Vexite, and that side was just no entry on Inferno most of the times. I think he anchors A on Nuke as well when he played for Order. And he was really, really good. Like, last stand, he would get you at least 2 kills before he went down and gave away A. And I'm trying to think of his other positions, but he was just one of those guys that are just sharpies. They're just really sharp. They can just make the other team have to really fight and really push him down to take him out.
Yeah. So we got Val, and then Vision. So Ethan.
Yep.
He was a kind of an outsider. I forget who mentioned. It might have been APOC starter. It might have been.
Yeah.
Said, have a look at this kid. So, and I call him kid because he's not. So he's like James's age. He hasn't been playing as long as that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I sent Keen and James. I said, have a look at this kid. So Keen looked at all his demo and came back to me and said, yeah, man, he's fresh, but he could see there was a couple of things that he saw that he goes, yeah, this get him. So I spoke to him. And, he was so keen to get involved, and ever since he got on board, he's just grinded hard. Even the time we spent over there, it's funny actually. He's sitting next to Krista's 5, you know, they sit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 next to and because he's new at it, but he's sharp, but he does stuff. He drops back into Aussie mode.
Yeah.
Keen looks at him, gives him funny looks, and goes, "What the hell was that, Ethan? Why'd you do that?" And Ethan goes, "Oh," and he goes, "No more of that. Don't do any more of that. Stop that." And he goes, "Oh, okay." So he's really, really eager to learn.
Yeah.
But you can see he's like from the first day at boot camp to I was only there for about 8 or 9 days. They've just finished, so they stayed in a week a bit. But the first day to the 8th day, his progression is amazing. Like he's good. Yeah, he's super sharp. Like,
is it just more like showing trust in his team and stuff like that? Keen's like, no, come with me, like, you know, stuff like that. Just more of like, you know, togetherness basically. Now he's just like full trust.
Yeah,
and
I think he was. It was one of the first times that he's played in the team, 4 guys around him that are really good, and it just he's realised, oh, okay, so I don't have to do everything. I just got to do this and this, and then I've got to think that they work the way they're working together. Yeah, it's special to watch. Yeah, and they're starting to work like a hive mind.
Yeah,
which Keen always talks about, and vision. Like there was one round. It was 1v2 just before I left.
Yep.
And we were playing. I think it was Bleed. Hampus in it.
Oh yeah. You know.
Yeah.
Cassard's coach. Yep.
Yeah. So we're playing him. It was 1v2, and he's gone into the site to try and defuse, and as he's walked in, he's commentating to himself in a way. He's going, okay, there's going to be one here, one there. He walked in and went bang, bang, took him out, defused. Keen said to him, see, that's how you do it. Love the way he's thinking. You're thinking about the game. And so Keen's teaching.
Yeah.
And he just picks it up really quickly. He's a clever guy, and super sharp mechanically.
Yeah, I gotta say, that's very heads up plays. Like, you know, okay, you know, he's gone through in his head like where they've cleared, and like where the best spots would be from their point of view, and what's the best opportunity for myself, and he's gone and done it. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, and he's picking that up because I think originally when you first get there, you kind of play as an individual player, not so much as a team, but they're working really well as a team. So really lucky to pick him up. He was with
Vantage.
Who was he with?
Vantage.
He was with Vantage. Yeah, so I did speak to a couple of the other boys too. That's a whole different story. But I think what's happened has been the best thing that's happened. Like, I really do, you know. Yeah, and then so Keen came about. So I got those two Aussie boys. So Keen came about because I said to James, we need an IGL. We need a top class IGL.
Yeah.
And he said, well, what about Keen? I thought, oh, well, I don't think yet. Keen was trialing tier 1 team.
Yeah, exactly. So, I can understand that. It's just like basically I was trying to suggest stuff before the talent lineup because I knew the talent lineup 2 weeks before it came out. And I'm like, let's find AWPers that are not signed to an org because I didn't want to say who it was. And someone was like, to me, perhaps like, why would you suggest Warro 2K? And I'm like, he would never play in a tier 2 team. I'm like, I'm trying to find AWPers that are free agents, mate. I know who's coming. But yeah, like, I can understand that completely. It's just like, why would they sign with an AU team?
Yeah, well, originally he's like, oh, no, play AU, and EU tier 1, and I said, like, I could understand, and I said to him, Keen, you know, if you come here, you can live in Australia. I'm putting him up. He's staying at my place.
Yep.
You can play. You're going to be the IGL of a team that could possibly make a major. I mean, we've got FlyQuest. We're going to have to play it. We didn't realize Talon was coming, but that's and obviously Rooster. There's a couple of really. I mean,
you're obviously setting a target basically as well. Like, you know, certainly FlyQuest. If we can beat them, we're in basically.
yeah, so I've said to him, I said it's an opportunity for you to show how like you can take a team of 4 and lead them. That's only going to do your reputation, good in Europe. Like if he comes down here and we do really well,
Yeah.
in 12 months' time, he's probably gone. I won't be able to afford him. So
it's kind of like Hooksy, basically. He did really well the
yeah,
Flames. Yeah.
yeah. So that's how I kind of convinced him. I didn't convince him. I was just like, dude, this is a good opportunity for you. We're the first time. We'll be the first Australian team, really, or in Asia are starting to do it, get the European players, but we'll be the first Aussie team to do it. I can't pay you big bucks, but the rewards are there if we can make it.
Yeah.
So I got him, which was a big coup. It was a big decision for him though, but so grateful that he said yes. And then I said to him, now you need to get another European player. I don't know any of them. And that's when Shady came up. So Martin Goodman.
Yep.
So Shady's only 21, I think.
Yeah, he played at that Gucci roster basically because
the Gucci roster. Yeah. So Martin's was, I think he was ranked top 7 or 8 of Europe. Face it.
Yep.
Like this kid's he's amazing. And I like during the boot camp, I was watching him. Holy crap, this guy's good. Just his mechanical ability off the charts.
What sort of AWPer is he? Is he like really aggressive or really passive or
Keen or
no? Talk about Shady.
No, Shady's rifling. Keen's AWPing.
Oh, okay. I thought Shady was AWPing. I didn't realize it was an IGL AWP, bro.
He's an IGL AWP, yeah.
Yep.
Which is really interesting, Josh, because I've always said to James ever since it started, I think that's the ultimate to me. The AWPer should be the IGL because it all revolves around the AWPer. I like it. Obviously, teams work differently, but to me, the best setup for a team is the AWPer, the IGL, and the four riflers work in conjunction with the AWPer, and that's how you can control the map. So Keen's AWPing, and he's super aggressive. Yeah, like super aggressive. So which is good because he'll shoot somewhere and then 3 seconds later he's at a different side. He's on the other side of the map. So when people play us, they'll have no idea where he is. He's moved like that. But yeah, so he's AWPing, and then Shady will be rifling, and so yeah, that's how it came about. That's the team. So.
Well, so how do you get Shady in the end? Was it just like basically Keen picked them up, or like was there anything had to be done to get him over, or that's it?
That was all Keen. That was all Keen. Yeah, he trialed a few guys in Europe. Shady ended up on these. Shady's, and I think Shady play in a tier 1 team. You'll see. He could play in a tier 1 team, no problem.
So we'll see whether Semper Fi gets picked for parts after they play very well, or.
Well, I've built in a massive buyout contract, so go for it, boys.
I'm not sure. Are you sure you're an Australian team and not a South American team?
No, we're definitely an Australian team. But I hope that they stay with us. Like I would like these 5 to stay together like for a couple of years. I mean, if Keen moves down here, I'm trying to get his girlfriend a job too, so she can move down. They'll love Australia.
Yeah. Would it be said as well that you could play a similar role to like what MJ did with Mindfreak when he got his boys to Na'Vi, where like you might package deal them out to another org to pick up?
I don't know much about what happened there.
Oh, so
what happened there?
MJ had a Halo team, and they got picked up by Na'Vi. That's what I'm referring it to. Okay, like would that be something you could be open to as well? Or you're hoping that will happen as well?
Yeah, I mean, I'll never hold them back. The ultimate to me would be do really well and go. I want Shady. I want all my players. Like take them all, no problem.
Also,
And then I can get the up and coming Aussie kids, build that. Hopefully James will stay with me, but if he wants to go somewhere, he can go somewhere too. But I just want to, I don't know, I want to help the scene. Trying. It's hard though.
Yep.
Yeah, it's hard because I don't have huge amount of money. So the money I got for this was I just obviously I play poker. Told you about poker. We play poker once a week at my place. A friend of mine runs a poker my joint every week. So I got a lot of contacts in the poker world that you know these guys I got anyway. They're connected.
Yeah.
So a lot of them have invested into it. You know, they saw me watching it on television when we were playing a game. They go, "What's this?" And I go, "Oh, that's Counter-Strike. James is playing." Blah, blah, blah. So they kind of the last 3 or 4 years they know kind of what it is. And then when I told them what I was doing, they're like, "Yeah, I'll so,
yeah."
So yeah, I hope I just hope we do well.
Yep. What's the goal to simplify org overall? Like, you know, what are you trying to achieve like now, medium term, and in the long term?
So now is obviously try and qualify. I've got them for 12 months, so even if we don't qualify for this one, try for this one. I think it's February or March. That qualification.
Yeah.
So
the second one.
So I've said to the boys, look, you know, they've only basically had 14 days or more, 18 days boot camp. But their progression from day one to when I left was massive, and then they apparently got even better. So, you know, if we don't make it this time, I said it's no big deal. Let's just spend another couple more months. I'll try and make sure I've got enough. I want them to spend a fair bit of time in Europe.
Yeah.
But come back here, obviously play the tournaments here. So that's short term.
Yep.
Medium term would be to solidify the org. So I've got enough money in case we don't make years.
Yeah.
To be able to pay the players here. You know, they're not getting huge, but they're getting enough to better than working at McDonald's, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I want to be able to do that, sustain that, and then long term would be to bring all the players through and then sell them off to Europe. Like, why not? Yeah.
With the leagues in particular, are you guys going to be playing in ECL Australia, or will you guys try to go your hand at ECA Advanced and play the Tier 2 tournaments in Europe?
I reckon a combination of both. That'll be really up to the boys. I have to talk about that.
Yeah. Okay.
But I want them to be to be playing in Australia. So a bit of both. Ideally, I can see 6 months Europe, 6 months Australia.
Yeah, because
that's how I see it.
It's just like I say right now, it's just really hard to, because there's so much benefits of being in Europe, but also at the same time you've got the Australian players. Like, would it be an ECL2? It's I gotta say right now, I could imagine Talon coming up with the same choice as well. Like, you know, that going in their heads of where to go.
Yeah. Well, Talon coming in is really it's great for OCE. They're obviously a highly successful org.
Yeah.
With a bit of money, and the fact that back, you know, Nedic and who's put in heaps, and Hazza, who I love Hazza. Obviously, I've LFO.
Yep.
Jared's he's a beautiful kid, and his parents they're beautiful. And then Christian, I hadn't had a lot to do with. I spoke to him a little bit. He seemed like such a beautiful person. So those three, they deserve this opportunity.
100%.
They really do. Yeah. And the fact that Az has come back to help them is awesome. I wish JKS had come back. Dexter's come back and helped, obviously. So the only one we need now is JKS. So if he wants to come and join us, I'll kick out Keen. Sorry, Keen.
But you need an IGL.
Yeah, well, you know, if we get JKS, mate.
True. Maybe he can get Hooksy now as well. Okay, he's unemployed. You can get him back in the team.
I can get Hooksy. Yeah, I get Hooksy.
Yep.
Who was it? Yeah, who can go? But look, yeah. So that's long term. I'd love to, and I'd love to. Like, I love motorsport, so I'd love to open up a Semper Fi sim racing.
Yeah.
Love that.
Oh, actually,
I got a lot of
yeah, sim racing. Like, what got you into that? Is it obviously the go karting stuff, or was that a part of the when you did go karting, you saw that as well?
Yeah. So interesting. In 2000, so 99, 2000, 25, 24 years ago.
Yep.
The internet had started like a couple of years earlier. There was a motorsport game called GP2 called.
Yep.
And it was the closest sim formula. And when I went and lived in London for a couple of years, I bought a franchise from a guy from Switzerland, started up first ever world championship Formula One using GP2. So I bought a franchise off him to put two drivers in. Obviously I was driving, and my stepbrother was driving. And we used to have to do the race by ourselves, zip the file up, send it to him. So I kind of saw that the sim stuff was going to be big back then.
Yeah.
But nothing ever rated. We nearly got a meeting with Bernie Ecclestone. We were probably one or two people away from getting a Bernie Ecclestone.
Oh, dude. See, this is what you're talking about when you talk about these 100th of a second every time. Is that, if you're just a bit quicker, Bernie Ecclestone. Who was he again? I just want to know who he is before
Bernie
everyone else.
Bernie Ecclestone was the one that ran. He was the head honcho of Formula.
So head honcho of Formula One. Jeez.
Yeah, he ran Formula One basically. He made it what it is today. He's not doing it now, but
yeah.
But so I kind of knew that sim stuff. So I went sim racing, and the sims now, like the Formula One sims now are just off the chart. They're so close to the real thing. So when James was doing this, it's not a sim.
Yeah.
Run around, jump around, but it's similar skill.
Yeah.
It's the same skill. It's just speed, quickness, reaction time, minute little details. That's why they're a bit better. It's a skill.
Yeah.
To me, it's a sport. It's Counter-Strike to me. I love AFL, but Counter-Strike to me is one of the greatest sports that I've ever seen. Like it's off the charts amazing. The excitement, it's easy to understand. It's a bit like chess.
Yep, definitely 100% agree.
So it's easy to play. You can learn how to play it pretty easily. Like the pawn moves here, the horse moves here, the castle moves there. So you can play chess, but then you can play chess. Like so, Counter-Strike similar to that. There's you can learn how to play it. You can learn, So that's what I love about it. You kind of never you never reach the pinnacle of it. You can always learn more, always.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
And that's Counter-Strike to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely.
And I love watching all the different. Sorry.
Definitely love Counter-Strike. The most chess piece I compare to, like the chess piece that's most similar to Counter-Strike, is the AWP being the rook, because it just locks down a certain angle.
The rook, yeah.
And anyone goes in that row or column, off the fucking field, mate. Like.
Yeah.
Punish.
Yeah. Well, see, I'd go the AWPer as the queen.
Oh, true. You can do that as well. It's like, head feet.
Anywhere you want. Anywhere you want.
Yeah.
And then the queen's got it. The queen's got his, her got her rooks and bishops and stuff. They're the rifles, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of knew. That's why when James started playing this, I saw the thing in IAM Sydney, going, wow, this is massive. And all the investors I've got involved with Semper Fi, I've shown them this stuff. I've shown them videos, and like this is big. This sport's big. This is bigger. The thing I love about it is, unlike Formula One or AFL or any other really traditional kind of sport, you can watch the best. You can watch Cologne. It's on now, so you can go and watch Cologne. You can watch the best players in the world play this game.
Yeah.
And then straight after that's finished, you can log on and you can play exactly the same game that they were just playing.
Yeah.
Like literally the same game, the same map, same gun, everything's the same. You can't do that with Formula One.
Yeah.
Like how many people can hop into a Formula One car? Now the Sims are getting close,
Yeah.
but that's why I think it's so attractive to audiences, because they can go and play it themselves, and then when they watch these guys, they go, "Wow, these guys are that good!" Like,
I was wondering, could this lead, like, obviously everyone getting excited about, especially your poker group and the people you know in the poker industry, could this lead to like many different sponsors within the poker industry coming in? Because I know, like, previously, like, when one sponsor came in, like, for certain industries, the rest followed, like energy drinks, for example. Could that could that lead the same thing for you, where you pull in more sponsorship if it does go well, or if it does look really good?
Yeah. I got heaps of contacts that put me in touch with, Poker Stars, Full Tilt. Full Tilt's gone, but all the poker sites. Yeah. I mean, even yes. So yes, the answer is yes. Yeah, I think it's a great avenue to sponsor and promote their sites.
Yeah.
Because poker's a very skillful too. So it's there's obviously an element of luck.
A lot of the mental, a lot of the brain power.
Yeah, and reading players and stuff like that. And I was telling James when he play, he'd push, he might push long, say on the T side. I remember this specific example, right? Yep. So he'd push long T side on overpass, and he just push long, and some guy would be standing right there, the CT, and just shoot him.
Yeah.
And I remember him saying, "Oh, that's ridiculous. He shouldn't be there." And I go, "But James, he was there."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Yeah, but that's a low percentage play." And I go, "But he got you, right? So you got to think how they think. You got to get in their minds. Like, is that guy going to do it again? Most likely, he's going to do it again.
Yeah.
Now, if you're the CT, you're going to think, well, this guy's going to think I'm going to do it again, so I can go. Like, there's all these mind games in Counter-Strike that's similar to poker. I think.
Well, definitely. There's a lot of cat and mouse.
That's why I love the Counter-Strike so much, because Counter-Strike has a bit of everything in it. It's a brilliant game, Joshy. I really, really love it. That's why
I love it as well. It's like an insanity, like all the smokes, all the flashes, like all the timings, the reasons why they do certain things, like what they're trying to seek for. Like, one example is in Nuke, where they hold that weird off angle. And I'm going, why do they hold this weird off angle? Because it's like a sliver. It's in secret, where it's like, I think it's a part where you can see someone not entering secret, but from the stairs at below, there's this little angle where you can see a sliver. And if that color changes, they know someone's coming in. You can throw a smoke or a Molotov to get them out, so they can't proceed and they can't punish you for it. And there's also all these things like seeing a hand or foot, like identifying what's a hand and a foot in the smoke, or something that shouldn't be there, or noises as well, like whether it's a bait or anything like that. Yeah. It's such a huge game in particular. I'll go on to a different subject. We've been through Semper Fi, what they're all about. They're basically trying to. They are trying to make a major, and they really want to take down the big dogs. They're aiming for the sky, which is really good to see. Yeah. I mean, you got to set your standards to the sky and try to build yourself that way as well. But we'll go to the next topic, which will be about how to support your kids in esports.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You had a panel about this at DreamHack Melbourne, I believe, with, I forget who was hosting it, but I know Savage was there.
We had Annette, so Inz's mum.
Yep.
She's awesome. She was awesome, actually. She almost took over the stage. She's amazing.
Yeah, I saw she was pushing you off at one stage. That's how much she was taking over the stage. She was going push.
Oh, she almost could have run it. She almost could have run it. So we had Annette, Deb O'Brien, so Jared has his mum.
Yep.
He was on too, and then myself and James. So I think the main thing is the balance, in my opinion. So kids do esport. There's nothing wrong with that. What I liked about what James did is he concentrated on just play all like different games every night.
Yeah, he had a full schedule, didn't he? Like he had time for homework, or was that more you involved?
Well, no, it was more. I said to him, you can do whatever you want free time, and that if your free time you want to play computer games the whole day, well, that's fine. So, but you got to do this, 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 and this. You can't say to me one night, like when he's 12 or 13, oh, Dad, I don't want to go to footy training. I don't want to go to footy training.
Yeah.
Hang on. I've got someone called. Yeah, I don't want to go to footy training, and I want to play computer games. I don't get it.
Yeah.
So I think that's the balance. I think it's the balance in playing the games and also having real life stuff. So I understand why people get upset and they get worried about kids just sitting on the computer the whole time.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fair enough. You need that social interaction.
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with a kid showing an interest in becoming a professional at something.
Yeah.
I always use the example, if your kid 11, a boy or a girl, and they wanted to go out every night after school for 2 or 3 hours and kick a football or kick a soccer ball or play cricket.
Yeah.
For 2 or 3 hours every night after school, you're not going to say no, are you?
Yeah, definitely not.
But if they said, "Oh, I want to play a computer game for 2 or 3 hours," they say, parents kind of go, "Oh, they don't kind of understand."
Yeah.
Good leads. So I think that's is a balance.
Yeah.
As long as it's balanced and they do good at school and they do other stuff too, they don't just do computer games. 10. Yeah. And I'd be worried if the kid doing all different games.
Yeah.
Like not it's just becoming a jack of all trades and not a master at one.
Yeah.
If they want to do something, then you pick it. It's like someone who wants to be a professional soccer player.
Yeah.
Kid at 11 says, "I want to play soccer for Manchester United." You go, "Okay, well then you got to go practice soccer every night. You don't practice soccer one night, practice baseball one, cricket another night."
Well, at least the sports mix, like, if they play soccer and then they play AFL, like, it's like, you can, vibe with that. But
that's fine.
But if they play cricket, baseball, and other stuff, which is not too much related
to
soccer, you're just like, no.
Yeah. So that's what I'd say. You can support your kid in esports, you have to have a balance. But so James got to about 14. He was about 14. And he said, "Dad, I've got to make a choice." Like, that was at the point where he was playing cricket, he was playing football, and he was doing Counter-Strike. And he goes, "Oh, I actually want to be a pro at Counter-Strike." We go, "Okay, well, now's probably the time we put more time into Counter-Strike." So he stopped playing.
Yeah.
And also their hands are that's their life, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't want to break fingers or busted hands or something. Yeah. So I was supportive of him stopping at 14, but if he was 10 or 11, stop older.
Yeah. With going overseas in particular, because obviously not many kids go overseas from Australia to compete esports online. Is that a different way to support your kid through that? Like, obviously you went over with James to make sure he was initially to make sure he was going well and whatnot. How would you perfectly support your kid going overseas to do esports? Like, is there anything that you would have done better, or anything you want to suggest to other people who are potentially going through the same choice?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think when he went over initially with LFO, because he was so young, guys he was with were a bit older than him.
Yeah.
I think Hazard was. I think Jared was about 20. James. Yeah. So that's a bit harder because he's so young. So that's why we kind of went over just support him. But if you're 19 or 20, just go. Just go. Support them financially. Go over with them if you can. But if that's what they want to do, that's what soccer players have to do. That's what all the Aussie soccer players.
Yeah.
If you want to make it in soccer in Australia, you got to go to Europe. You just have to. Motorsport's the same. If you want to make it in F1 and that, you got to go to Europe. You just got to.
Yeah. Because I do recall someone actually, I'm not sure, there's a conversation in the back of my head, and, someone actually told me, I think it was earlier today, we talked about the Australian majors being on at 4 p.m. ASD, And and I realized to myself, I'm like, I don't want to say it to them because it might come off so badly. But you got to
I saw
sacrifice.
that.
You got to sacrifice
I
stuff
saw
in
that.
sports if you
Yeah, I
want to
saw
get
that.
anywhere. And it's a harsh reality for a lot of people because you can't. What was it? What I gotta say?
I saw
If
that.
you're in your comfort zone, like you have to
Yeah, you're not going.
sacrifice stuff in sports. Like eventually, like you have to go for that extra mile because someone else is going to go for that extra mile. You need to be able to match that as well. It's kind of
Well,
a arms race, I suppose.
well, it's interesting when I saw all that thread and stuff.
Yeah.
The guys that have gone, oh, I can't take time off work, start at 2:00.
Yeah.
They're probably not going to make it to the top four. Like, let's be honest. I mean, if you seriously thought you're going to make top four, make close, you're going to take half a day off work. So they're just playing it for the hell of playing it, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's great.
Definitely.
They might be So
like I say, I don't think the players will be insulted by that. They'll just be like, yeah, he's got a good point.
Yeah. Look, who knows? People are really delicate these days. You got to be careful what you say.
I'll say in particular, it's I'll say in particular as well with kids, like you wanted, like, what was your minimum level education that you wanted Savage to have before we sort out esports?
Yeah. So
because
year 12.
That reminds me of what Kyo said. Like, Kyo's at uni, obviously.
Yeah.
That's why I asked that question, because year 12, and then other people want a uni degree.
So year 12 was the minimum. And he actually did year 12 when he was overseas, the LFO. He did it online.
Yep.
And the school was really supportive of him. He said, we told the school what he was doing. We don't need him and his mum. We don't care if he gets 98%. He just needs to pass.
Yep.
School were very supportive, and they said, yeah, we can do it all online. So James was actually 12 playing overseas online. But you need year 12, at least get year 12.
Yep.
Then you can take 2 or 3 or 4 years off, chase your. And if it doesn't work, you come back, you're 22, 23, 24, you go to uni and you're a mature age student, you can get into law. You don't have to get 98%. You get into law as a mature age student.
And you can even just go into the blue collar industry as well. Like, they're always looking for people who can do the heavy lifting or hard work.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
I think a lot of big issues with the education system in general, it really narrows you down, saying that uni is the only way, you won't be successful without it. And they also really pressure it that has to happen now. There's no later. It has to happen now, kind of thing.
Doesn't have to. You've got plenty of years. Just
exactly
19, 20, 21, 22. Just relax. Go and chill and see the world. Come back to it.
Yeah, exactly right. That's what I meant. Like, everyone seems to narrow down, but it's not the case. Like, I've experienced it. You've experienced it. It's just like, even though I went to uni after high school, I'm just like, I want to do it because I want to become either a lawyer or something in finance. It wasn't because the school was pressuring me to do so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so just chase your dreams, mate. While you got a chance, do it. Once you get 24, 25, the world changes. You get a stable relationship. You start having kids. Everything changes, right? It's all different.
Yeah, you start losing your hair. Now you're bald. No.
Come on.
No, you're all right. You're all right. I was just making a joke.
There, man.
Oh, dude.
There.
My front hairline's receded so much that I'm funny. Like, if I want to spike up my hair, I can't. It's getting to my fringe now, so it's just like, I can't even spike it up anymore.
Nah, you look alright, Josh.
You say I'll be alright, the next year, there's no hair. It's gone.
It happens like that.
Yeah, bam.
What's the next question? Shoot me a question.
No, that's pretty much. No, I'm just kidding. There's a few questions. Now, with other people want uni degrees and whatnot, you did talk about, obviously, the 4 p.m. start time. Like, if you're going to make it, you're going to have to make that sort of sacrifice. Would that choice change depending on how old your kid was? Like you said, obviously, at 10, you probably wouldn't let them do that. If they're a bit older, would you let them, potentially not finish year 12? If they could really prove to you that's something worth going?
Yeah, I would, yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. Actually, that's a good question. Good question. I think
This is mainly to
I think
Fortnite, i.e. Fortnite, because that's a big one where the average age of the esports stars are very low.
Yeah, it's really young.
Yep.
I think if you can't do what you're doing in esports, finish year 12, there's something. You should. You're only 16. You can do both. All the AFL boys do it now. All the AFL players do it. All the professional, like esports, no different.
Yep.
If your kid's coming to you at 14, 15 saying, "Mum, I've got to drop out of school to be a professional esport player," that's red flag. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't have to.
Yeah.
You can train your ass off as much, but you can still do school. Yeah.
Do you think
I would say year 12 minimum.
Yep. Do you think it's because year 12 like introduces soft skills that could be transferred to like online gaming, like teamwork and stuff like that? Like,
it's that, and it's definitely that, but it's also showing whoever your prospective or employees or even an esport, that you put your mind to something to achieve it while you're trying to do something. So if a kid came to me and said that they quit year 10, become a professional esport player, I'd be like, well, why'd you quit year 10? Why didn't you 11 and 12 and still be an esport player? So I would have questions about it.
Yeah.
I admire the dedication, but I would think it would be more of a cop out.
Yeah.
So I would suggest year 12 bare minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it year 12, like, this is an interesting question. Is it year 12 based on your experiences? Because back in your day, year 12 was quite important for anything in particular. These days, it's obviously somewhat
back in
less.
My day, how old are you?
Oh, we'll just say you're 21, okay, Ben, okay? But like back in obviously 20, 30 years ago, year 12 mattered a lot because, they'll just pick you up the street to do anything. Now it's becoming less important because they want extra qualifications on top of it, but still just as valuable. Is it based on that, or is it just like, year 12, you've got a lot of pathways just from it in general?
Yeah, again, another good question. I don't understand. I don't quite kind of grasp how important. To me, it's important. It shows to me that a kid, 16, 17, has gone, you know what, I've committed to finishing year 12. After that, you can do whatever you want, but it's something you commit to and you've done it. Even if you've done it in conjunction with being a pro gamer or a pro football player or whatever, it just shows the type of character of that they've gone, you know what, I want to do this, but I just want my year 12 so that in 3 or 4 years' time I get into uni. If you don't have year 12, it's harder to get. If you've done year 12, you can be 24, 25, you're straight in. But if you dropped out in year 9, you go at 24 to get into uni, they're going to go, what the hell are you doing? Why'd you drop out at 9? So
it's like
that to me is a minimum.
Yeah. It's like being unemployed for like 3 years and like, what the hell did you do in the last 3 years kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what have you done?
Yep. And also as well, I think you've really highlighted that it's not the fact that what it gives access to, it's the fact that you've just done it.
Yes. Yeah, it's the commitment.
Yep.
It's showing that someone's dedicated and they're focused on something, and that says a lot about a person.
So we've obviously supporting your kids through esports. Like there's obviously the financial side as well, but how do you support them emotionally, especially when they're overseas and you're potentially not with them? Is there a different sort of thing in particular? Because obviously some important life events can happen while they're overseas. And
I'm not as emotionally as intelligent as James' mum. She did all that stuff.
Okay. So
yeah, she was.
Okay. So do I have to get her on now as well?
Get her on if you want. She wouldn't be as good as me though on camera. Maybe.
Oh, you're competitive, aren't you? No wonder why you're in motor racing. Absolutely competitive.
I am very competitive. That's what James.
Ben, I am pole position, mate.
Always pole. Second is first of the losers.
Oh, I've had that phrase said to me when I played at Yu-Gi-Oh! Nationals when I was trying to comfort a guy who came second. I'm like, you did really good for WA. And he's just like...
No, he didn't.
He's just like...
First of the losers.
Second's first of the losers. And he did get beaten by like, I think it was like 200 life points, which is so unfortunate. Like, he was so close to winning, but
First of the losers. I've got to do another quick toilet break, Joshy.
Yeah, all good. We can be right back.
You good?
We'll come back with the last topic, and
Yeah.
that'll be it.
Go to a break. Support our sponsors.
We don't have any sponsors.
We're going to get sponsors, Joshy.
Oh. Anyways, guys, hope you guys have been enjoying that so far. It's been very, very fun talking to Ben. Yeah, I gotta say overall, like, it can be very, very difficult to like support your kids while they're overseas. Like I've had so many things and heard so many things in particular. Like the most famous one I do remember is the Shocks incident as well. With not incident. Incident sounds so bad, but Shocks when she broke down over her. I think it was her grandmother and her mother passing away in quick succession, and she didn't see either of them before they passed away. And she went on stream about it when she was not in a good place. And it was absolutely heart-wrenching watching that because I think she was in a different country at the time. And she didn't get to see them, that one last time in particular. And that's what led to me to that question in particular, is because it's just like, what do you do in those circumstances? Because you don't get to see family and friends too much while you're over there. And like, how do you bridge that gap and stuff like that as well? So they can, it's really, really difficult, like, overall, because I felt so bad when I was watching Shocks do that, because Shocks also DM'd me about, what teams look out for, what players look out for, and stuff like that for the EU RMRs. Like, she asked me a lot about that particular, and I was really shocked, funnily enough, because I didn't think I was that great in analysing anything like that. But like I was just sitting there going like, damn, like these people sacrifice so much to provide us like really high quality entertainment. Like, how do they keep it together when they're so far away from home? And it can only just be magnified being Australian in particular, because like in Europe's 7 hours behind basically, so you can only really talk to your family at certain hours basically. I think America would be much worse because that's generally 12 hours. Can be 13 to 14 hours as well in particular, that you can't call them up at any time. So that's why I asked that question in particular. And Semper Fi is really good to have an introduction to Semper Fi, who they're all about, what they are. I gotta say I definitely bumbled that 100%. That Shady, of course, is being the rifler, not the AWPer. I forgot Keen is an AWPer. I had it in the back of my head that Keen's the AWPer, but then fumbled the bag. But I do know he was in that Gucci roster ages ago, but obviously that didn't go ahead. But I'm actually, the funny thing is that Semper Fi have got the 2 Vs, okay? Obviously no Vexite for Order, but they've got Vision instead. So I wonder if Valiance and Vision are going to be on the B site together in Inferno. So it can be like the Vs of Semper Fi. And that would be amazing. But I do like some of the comments in chat, okay? The Warzone team as well, Cray. I completely forgot about that.
Is this live, Joshy?
Yeah, it is live, mate.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Where's the comments? Ask me some questions.
Oh, no, ban them. I banned them, okay? We got them away. Only I can ask questions. No, but Gray said a few things as well, like the Mind Freak roster that was picked up by Navi was also from Warzone as well. And he also made a comment about your you can also play the same game. Gray said, but people troll my pugs when I try to play the same games to Tier 1 pros. And he also made a joke about, how old they have to be before they can play. And he made, if you could say mama and dada, you could say 1B, mate.
Mate.
And Hoax, which is the CEO Vantage, he said, once I have kids, Project Monacy begins.
Yeah. Get them started as young as you can.
Yeah, the Yellow Flash. I like that nickname he had for himself. But we'll go to the last subject. And that will be...
What's the last one?
Is
yes.
Yes, because obviously this is the funny part. This is not new, okay? Because the first team that did this was M80 when they brought in Manx and Slacks.
Who did this?
M80 for the NA scene. They brought in Manx and Slacks.
Oh, you're talking about You're talking about North America.
Yeah, talking about North America, like team ejected EU players. They built with Swisher, Malbs, and Rek.
Yeah.
And the big sacrifice that they did there is that Rek became a support player. Rek was a star player. He became and they also brought in a European coach, I believe, as well. Yeah. And they tried this in particular. like obviously now AU's doing it. Do you think this is going to be the future of the scene where people are going to go
Well,
to tier 2 to tier 3 players? And
well, AU's not doing it. I
yeah.
did it.
Oh, what I'm saying, like, is AU going to start doing that? That's the main question.
Well, I think it's the only way to do it. I think it's a great way to go. You get not only do you get some experience like Keen and Shady. That what I saw. Obviously, James was in Europe for 3 or 4 months before this, right? And so I was talking to him, and he was saying, "Dad, you have no idea how much better he's got in that last 3 or 4. Just playing every day, just even on Face It, right? So he just got so much better. So Keen and Shady being here, the knowledge that they're imparting on Maddie and Ethan, so Valiance and Vision, is awesome. So even when they go back, then now you got Valiance and Vision who can then pass that on to other Australian kids. So I think it's the future only because. So when I got the investors to help me, like I didn't have the money. I didn't have the money. So I talked to a lot of people about it. The way I sold it to them was we're going to get two guys from Europe, join 3 good Aussie kids. The 2 guys from Europe are like Man United players. So that's how I sold it to them. Like people know soccer, right? So I've gone. They're kind of like 15th, 16th on the in the roster. So they're playing for Manchester United. They can't get into the first team. They're not good enough to get play for Man U, but they're pretty freaking good. So if they come to Australia and played for Melbourne Victory, Central Coast Mariners, then they're going to be probably the best players in Australia. Or close to it, equal to our top, So that's how I sold it to them. So you get 2 European guys coming for 12-month contract. We go hard. They teach the 3 Aussie kids what's going on. Then they might go back. We get a couple of Europeans, and we keep doing it that way. We build them up, and then they get picked up by maybe tier 1 or so. That's how I sold it, and I think that's kind of close. Like, these guys are good. These guys are good, and that's taking nothing away from the Aussie players. Like our Aussie kids are. You look at the top 7 or 8 of Aussie players. You could even name them, couldn't you, Josh? You could name them.
Okay.
They are mechanically. Like, are you gonna name them? Go on then.
Okay, JKS, Ince. There's a lot of riflers. Dexter.
No, hang on. You got to take JKS, Dexter as take the international guys out. Take the Australian players right now.
The Australian players right now
Ince.
are
Ince,
Vexite, Liaz. Dexter's had international experience, but he's here though. Come on.
Well, Dexter doesn't count because he's into.
Oh, boo! Nah. But you can get those players in particular. I can't name all 8 because there's like a contest between a lot of them. But I would say overall, like our main key core, like export is riflers because we like AWPers and IGL so badly in AU.
And again, that's probably just lack of game. You can't play enough games here. You just can't. So how are you going to learn how to captain? So I understand. But so what I'm saying is the top 7, 8 players in Australia, if you took the top 7 or 8 players, and probably most of them freaking FlyQuest, that's fine. That's why they've been the top the whole time. They always what Will did was amazing, right? He created this awesome team, and then as soon as someone comes up, he just gets them.
Oh, so what are you talking about, Will? Like, which was are you referring to Wombat or are you referring to a different Will?
No, Will, the guy that owned Renegades.
Okay,
yeah. So he had a great model where he created the best team, and everyone wanted to play for Renegades, right? So So as soon as he rang them up, they just drop everything and join. So the top 8 or 9 players individually, mechanically, I think are as good as, in my opinion, good as any of the top Europeans. But we've only got 8 or 9 of them. Europe's got 200 of them.
Exactly.
So Yeah, so that's the difference, but that's not taking anything away from the Australian players.
Mm-hmm.
The difference, in my opinion, especially after I've watched some boot camp that 10 or so days, is the teamwork side. That's the difference. That's the difference. I mean, 100%. It's not the individual skill. I mean, I'm taking what you got to take out the Zywus and those freaks.
Yeah.
But after you take out the top, 10 European individual players, anything after that is our top 8 or 9 in Australia are as good as the European.
Yeah, I would say overall, to really add on to your point, is that they have 200 players, like we have 8 or 9, but those 200 players can have massively different play styles, which they can learn off and then create and then combine and make a lot better. And it's like an exponential formula, basically. Like their trajectory just goes so much higher than the Australians' ones. And therefore, basically, we have to import these people over, otherwise we don't get exposure to that style. In fact, in Australia, I've just noted that there's no regimented style in Australia. So anytime we verse a regimented style, other than FlyQuest, who crack against it a lot, they just fall to pieces because they've never played against it.
Yeah, they don't get it.
Yeah.
Now, it's not because we're not good enough players.
Mm-hmm.
The individual skill is, if you did one-on-one competition, that'd be a cool thing to do, like a one-on-one CS:GO. That'd be.
They did a 2v2 for the Red Bull stuff. Because that's when that's where the they did it actually previously last year as well. Because Ruffleco, I think they may have done a 1v1. Craig, did they do a 1v1? Because Ruffleco was really shoving it into Jeremy, emotion that he'd beat him in a 1v1. I just want to confirm that, but I think that may have been a 1v1 or a 2v2. I'm not sure. But anyways, Craig can probably confirm that for me. But yeah.
So I think individually and mechanically skilled, I think we're as good as anyone in Europe, other than say the top 5 or 10 or whatever. But the next 200, we're the same. But in terms of team, especially after seeing what they were doing on the over the last couple of weeks, and just the way Keen Quistas was explaining to the guys what's happening during the game, during the map.
Yeah,
it's like, wow, they're on a different level. They're elo on a chess sort of.
It is elo, yeah. Chess is the same as
1600. We're at 1,000. Like it's. And I think by bringing EU players here, we're only going to help Australian players. We're not taking away spots for Australian players. If this works for me, Keen and Shady will probably go back to Europe. That's fine, and I'll get another two.
Yep.
Okay? I'll get another. Maybe one of the Aussie boys can IGL because they've learned off Keen, and then we can get a couple of. Yep. What'd be really cool is some of the top.
And also as well, like some of even the AU players could teach EU players a few things as well. Like, obviously there's a lot of South American teams and Asian teams that play very puggy, but it's a controlled sort of puggy. Like Furia always have FlyQuest's number. Like every time they are the little thorn in their side and somehow win, despite the fact I'm looking at the analysis and being like, they shouldn't be fucking winning. Furia are not good. And they do. That sort of thing. Like they can also teach them as well.
Well, it's interesting you say that because a couple of times they did a 5-stack. The boys in Latvia did a 5-stack face it game, right?
Yeah.
And they played just 5 randoms on face it as you do.
Yep.
And these 5 they literally played heroic in a scrim. I watched them play heroic. They played Astralis and heroic.
Yep.
And they did pretty well. And then they 5-stacked against a random 5 people on Face It.
I do
and
recall
these guys, hey?
They played against Sasanito from Apex. Yes, I do recall. Just continue.
It was weird. And these 5-stack Face It randoms just slaughtered them. And I remember saying to James, that doesn't make any sense. What? So you play against Astralis, you get 9 rounds off them.
Yeah.
And then you 5-stack the same team, you guys, play a random 5-stack from Russia and Ukraine, whatever the fuck they're from. Yep. And they beat you 13-3. That's because they play weird, Dad. And I go, yeah, but then why don't you play weird against so? It's
kind of like they got to experience it, it's like
yep. Doesn't make sense to me. Anyway,
because they were playing a few Russians, a few Ukrainians, and then Sasanito, because Sasanito was in it. Because someone actually posted this to Reddit saying that Semper Fi were going to flop because they linked that stack because Sasanito was playing, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's a really bad. Yeah, because I'm like, oh, that's really bad. Yeah. Actually, they got beaten 15-3 by a random bug.
Well, we beat. I don't know. I'm saying wrong. Say it. We beat Alternate Attacks twice.
Yep.
About 2 days before they played, and they did really well against Alternate Attacks. Only beat a couple of teams.
Yep.
Yeah, and we beat them twice. So the boys are playing well because Alternate Attacks are doing really well. I mean, they only ranked 6th well, but they did really well.
And they're one of the OG German orgs as well. Like, they used to be top back in the NA, obviously now tier 2. I always quote Malta, where Scrim, not Malta, sorry, someone said Scrims don't matter. It's all about learning, but I think that's a big thing as well, that all the AU players and EU players in that roster are learning as well.
I reckon I did talk about that. I think once you get to the top of your game, then scrims aren't about winning. Like Australis and Heroic playing Semper Fi. They don't care whether they win. They'll be trialing. They'll be trialing stuff.
Yeah.
They don't care. Yeah. But for us, we're trying to. I think it's a different mindset.
Yeah.
Different. But I think I think the pracs are, when they were pracking, they were trying to win. Our guys were trying to
win. Yeah.
I mean, they were treating it like I was treating it like I was standing with the coach watching the screen. Yeah. I'm just hoping they're going to win, even though it's only a prac. Because I'm in my head, I'm thinking this is if we win this, we're into the major. That's how my mindset was. And when they lose, I get really disappointed, but it's only a prac. So
yeah. So overall, I think the main things is this is probably going to be the future. It's like getting imports in. Do you think we get imports in from a different country or continent? Can we get Asia players coming in, North American players, and South American players, and would that do a certain boost to the AE region as well, or is it just
absolutely? Yeah, I think anyone we can get in that adds experience and knowledge to our players, worth it. Yeah, I mean the Asian scenes, Counter-Strike's, as far as I know, is not as big in Asia. They do more LPL and maybe a bit of Valorant. But the fact that they've got a Shanghai major, I think it's going to really boost it. I reckon Counter-Strike's going to take off, and it's already happening. Obviously, Talon is a good example. They've gone, wow.
And Mongols as well. You got the Mongolian orgs like Mongols, Atox. They're popping off too.
Mongols, yeah. So I think if Asia starts to really embrace Counter-Strike, mate, the sky's the limit. For Asia embraces Counter-Strike, watch out, Europe, because they'll take all the European players. They'll take all the guns. Monasi's gone, Nico's gone. They're all gone.
Yeah,
they're all going to go to an Asian one. So that can only be good for us.
Yeah,
I think. But I don't see any problem bringing EU players or Asian players into Australia to.
Oh, I was more talking about, would it have the same sort of impact as, bringing EU players if you got, 2 NA players, 2 South American, 2 Asian? Would that be the same impact as EU, or is it kind of like where you say with motorsports? No, you just have to go to EU.
I reckon at the moment, bringing EU, because EU is the best.
Yep.
They're the best players. That's where it's at. Then I think it'd be more beneficial to bring European players over, but that could change really quickly. That could change really quickly if Asia starts to embrace Counter-Strike and they start bringing over guys like, even, you can see, I can see, a couple of years, people like Simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Simple, Simple will get to 30, 31, 32, whatever how old he is, and some rich Asian org goes, come over here and teach our kids how to do it. Like, that's going to only benefit Asian CS.
Yeah.
Because he's going to impart all his knowledge onto these kids. Mate, the future's bright for the sport.
And also, not so much as well, Australia could like get like players like Jam Young when they're past their prime, Mosier,
Yep.
Captain Mo
Yep.
even as well. Like, he's past his prime as well. Could get him down here as well and be like, yeah,
Yep.
help our boys out with CS. What you guys focus on? How do we, adopt your
Yeah.
style, and how do we even combat it
Yep.
as well?
And people like Dexter.
Yep.
The fact he came back and playing with is awesome. I think that's since only had 30th birthday. Happy birthday, Dex.
Yep.
But the fact he's done that, he's going to impart all his knowledge on them. Azza now is helping all the Nanik and Azza and Christian.
Yep.
That's fantastic. We're missing JKS. He's got to come back soon. Hopefully he comes back because his name's Savage. He might help me out, like whatever.
I've actually got to say, I hope he does come back, because other than Hazard, there hasn't, and Valiance actually as well, there's not really too many strong anchor players in AU. And JKS is one of the top. Obviously, I'm going to say Sush is number one anchor ever. I assume you've watched him play with Rock.
I don't know who.
Sush?
Nah,
it's SJUUSH. I'm probably saying it wrong.
Before my time.
Yeah.
Before my time.
He's like the number one anchor player. Like, he will play all the shit positions, and he's kind of like Valiance, but Valiance in tier 1 basically.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I like him.
Yeah.
Does he want a coach? I need a coach.
I'm not sure. He still plays for Heroic, but like, that's one thing in particular for JKS, to impart his knowledge on like how to anchor for a site, and how to just keep how to buy time basically, because what the anchor's doing, the anchor's like going to the ATM and be like, please buy 20 seconds so my team can get here.
Yeah, that's a really good comment. I like that, because you can see it on the Europeans where they they'll rush B or something like that, and rather than taking fights, they'll just hide, like buying 4 or 5 seconds for the rotation.
Yep. And throwing nades. Yep.
I'm not trying to sound like I know what the hell I'm talking about, because James will tell me to shut the hell up.
Yep.
But yeah, I love the game, Joshy. I love studying it. I love to be an athlete. I just love the psychology of it. It's a beautiful game.
I think the most important part in particular is like how much those 5 seconds of time buys on the site, like getting critical information of where people could be post-plant, or how much utility they've used, where they're coming from, and where could they hold, what they've already taken. And also as well, how to be able to dismantle it as well. Like, if you go through to smoke, one guy's past you at van, they won't check van, so if I stay there, I can set up the retake for the others to come in as well.
Yeah. It's a perfect, beautiful team game.
Yep.
It's so complex yet so simple. That's what's so beautiful about the game. I can sit there at poker or I'm watching, and it's very easy for me to explain what's happening. These guys have to plant a bomb. These guys have to stop them planting a bomb. They get 2 minutes. Pretty simple. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Right. But there's so much more going on in the game. Obviously, you understand, and I'm starting to understand more. But to someone who just starts watching, it's that simple. Yep. Literally that simple.
I remember when
plant a bomb here. Yep. Stop them planting a bomb. That's it. Yep. And from that, it grows. People then start to understand the intricacies of the game. Yep. It's got a big opportunity, mate. I reckon it can be bigger than.
Oh, definitely. I'm actually going to say this is a bit off topic from this question, but which sort of style do you prefer from a developer point of view? So with Counter-Strike 2, nothing much really changes. You don't get an extra agent every month or anything like that. And then you got Valorant and other games where you get an extra skin or an agent every 3 months or so. Do you prefer the Valve method with Counter-Strike, or would you like a game that gets updated like every 2 months with new stuff, basically?
Well, okay. I don't know a lot about Valorant.
Okay. If you don't want to answer it, it's fine. Like,
no, I'll answer. I don't know a lot about the game other than when I watch it, it looks a bit magical to me, where you can cast spells, and force fields up, and all this weird stuff, right? Yeah. I think that's one thing I like about Counter-Strike. It's a bit more realistic in a way. So that's what I like about it. In terms of what you were saying, I like the traditional stuff. So keep it I think that's what Counter-Strike stood the test of time.
It's more player created than developer created.
What is Valorant?
No, Counter-Strike. It's more player created. Like, they give them the tools and they're just like, players, it's like more sandboxy, basically. Like, here's the tools, players, go do whatever you like.
Yeah.
And developer side, which is for Valorant, it's like, we add the changes and try to dictate how play goes.
Oh, okay. No, well, I like it better from players. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it should be the players are the ones playing it, so they should dictate what changes happen.
Yeah,
that's a my basic point of view. I mean, I'm not really educated enough to comment on it.
Yeah.
All I know is that Counter-Strike's been played since what 2000.
I think it's a bit older than that. I'm just trying to think. I'd say 2000. I think it might be. I think it'd be done.
Source.
I don't know, 1.6. I played
1.6.
I played 1.4. That was before I went to. That was when I was in year 8, year 7. I think it was before that as well.
Yeah, say you'd be a bloody little kid.
Yeah, because I was playing that as well. I played Aztec back in the day as well, and Italy as well. We played Hostage before we even became Diffuse. The crazy thing about Half-Life in particular, Counter-Strike, it was just a Half-Life mod. It wasn't even actually a standalone game.
Yeah.
And they had like so many other games as well, like Natural Selection, Ricochet. Valve made like, this is actually the crazy part as well. Like, Valve made 8 separate add-ons for the game. Like, there's Day of Defeat as well. Like, so many different FPSs from Half-Life. And it's just crazy that Counter-Strike was the one that succeeded. Like, it wasn't even the main game.
Because it's the simplest game. It's like chess. Yeah. It's very, very simple, yet very, very complex. And I think that's why it stood the time. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can see it being around for another 20, 30, 40 years. Beautiful game.
Yeah.
I love it. And that's why that's why I started an org. I hope it works. I hope I can help out Aussie kids. I know, and because James was young when he came up, I'd be looking for guys like that. I'll be looking for 15, 16-year-old James. That's what I'll be looking for. Yep. I'll go, all right, look at this kid. He's 15. He's going to be a gun, and I'll sign him up.
Yeah,
I'll have him signed up. Like it happened in AFL in the 90s, where managers started coming in, getting kids when they were in year 8, year 9 that were gun, and signing these kids up before they even got to the age where they.
Yeah,
I can see that happening. Strike in Australia, and it's recognizing the talent really young.
Yeah,
getting it, and they're doing it in Europe already. That's why they got on.
Oh, definitely. Like Navi Junior doesn't get Monacy by a mistake, basically.
Yeah, so that's where I think that's where it's going. And hopefully Australia does that. We can sustain a industry in Australia that can. I mean, the kids need to make the money, so that's the hard bit.
Yeah,
being able to pay them enough so that they can play.
Yeah,
like even the fact we have to change the RMR from 2 to 4 o'clock because everyone's at work or at school or something. Like, it'd be nice if we've got 10 to 20 teams that are getting paid, and you don't have to get paid. You don't have to get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. You just have to make enough, like you're working at Pizza Hut, working at McDonald's, right?
Yeah.
If you pay a kid 15 or 16-year-old, $1,000 a month, then they don't have to work at McDonald's. They can come home from school and play straight away. So we need to get to a point where there's 10 or 15 teams where everyone's getting paid.
Yeah,
that'll be ideal.
That's just the internal question for ANZ Esports in general. I gotta say, probably need a whole different podcast to discuss that one, because that one's it's just kind of the perpetual cat and mouse game, because it's just like, oh, but this problem, we don't get enough, and it never ends. It just ends up to like no one supports it because there's not enough money in it, basically.
Yeah, and that's where the business models come in.
Do you think the this scene where ANZ grab players from will change in the next 5 to 10 years? Like, will it be going to Asia instead, or North America, or would it still just be going to Europe? Like, do you have any indication where it could be, the next spot could be coming from, or next sort of players? Like, would that change?
What do you mean, getting players to play for Aussie teams, or?
Yeah, like, would you go to, like, let's just say, like, will Europe be dominant, do you think, in 5 or 10 years? Or would you be looking to, like, the Asian scenes, the North American or even South American scenes in the future?
I think Asia's the one that could dominate.
Yeah.
If they chose,
Mm-hmm.
if the Asian orgs decide to go down the Counter-Strike route rather than LPL, like League of Legends is LOL.
Yeah. League, yeah. I know where you're going with this, and I 100%
Yeah,
agree.
because I've said this to you, haven't I?
No, you haven't said this to me, but I've watched LPL, and it's insane how good they are.
What, League of Legends?
Yeah, it's insane how good the Chinese, the Korean scene, all that scene, like, compared to anything in Europe or NA. Like,
Yeah. So if they decide to go down the Counter-Strike path, which I think they should, because to me, League of Legends is not it's not a spectator sport. It's not. League of Legends is something that I consider a poker game.
Yeah.
And look at a screen and explain what the hell's going on. There's just too much shit going on.
Yeah.
There's spells. There's people running around all over the joint.
Yeah.
Like it's not really clear unless you're really into. It's a bit like League of Legends is a bit like AFL. Trying to explain AFL to a soccer player, like it's just there's shit going on all over the joint. Unless you've grown up with it, you're never going to understand it, right? So soccer's really simple. You kick the ball into the goals. Like there's not many rules. Can't do that. But AFL's tons of rules. So League of Legends to me is like AFL.
Yep.
And Counter-Strike is like soccer. So Counter-Strike to me is a way better spectator sport for people just in the esport world.
Yeah.
Very easy to explain. You can go and watch a game. I could take 20 people to IEMs that have never seen esports in their life, and by the end of it, they'll be hooked.
Yeah.
If I took them to a League of Legends, that they would still at the end of it go, "What the hell's going on?" Like it's much easier to understand. So I think if Asia go away from this crazy League of Legends stuff where there's shit going on all over the place, and they go down the Counter-Strike path, where the EU's in a whole heap of trouble, they'll take over.
Yeah, and you'll be taking players from Asia basically.
And we're in their region, so God help us.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. We've got this easy. We have Semper Fi, FlyQuest, and Talon. We have no issues in particular, okay? So easy 2-0s, mate.
But then you see, like, the Mongols. Like, how good are Mongols now? They've just gone to a whole different level.
Oh, definitely. They've flown past FlyQuest, like, by far. And I'm like, they could make a run at Cologne, and then they melted down so hard to 9C, and I'm just sitting there in my head and hands going, oh. It just reminded me of when they were up 11, I think it's 11-4, 11-3 against Astralis at the major, and still lost. They had Astralis against the wall. It was a headset throwing moment for me. I'm like, you had them against the fucking wall.
Well, we're going to beat Mongols in Shanghai.
Oh, now I've seen the target going up. FlyQuest. Now Mongols. Next up, Navi G2. You gonna take JL's headband next? You gonna tell Wanda? No, we've got his headband, mate.
No, I've said to the boys, all we need to do is qualify, get into the major in Shanghai, and then I don't care if you lose 3-0, right? So, I don't care.
You're going for the I'm a pet route, the IE chat route. You get 3-0, everything else is bonus points.
Just qualify, that's it. And then I'll get all the investors, they're all going to come over to Shanghai. I'm going to get a big Airbnb. Everyone's invited, big party.
And we're going to have that drink that I think I said to you that we were going to have when I was making comments. Like, it doesn't matter if you don't make the major. And I think it was like I said, I win either way. I have a drink with Ben, and he can tell me that, I told you we are going to make it, but I get a drink anyway.
It's going to be interesting, Joshy. But anyway, we get another chance. If we don't make this one, we'll make it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say overall, like, I know I was very harsh in my assessment, but I've got to be honest. Otherwise, you're telling me to do my job badly. I don't see, as I said before, I don't see either Talon or Semper Fi getting in the major. But looking at Talon, obviously we'll see how Semper Fi plays as well. I'm actually highly more inspired and optimistic that, you know how in the Asia RMR, there's always, you know, the rest of the Asia and the Middle East part, which are barely competitive.
Yeah.
And also the second Australian team is generally barely competitive. Sorry for text, by the way. But I'm actually highly optimistic that the second AU team could be competitive given what Talon did.
Yeah.
Like, if Semper Fi showed the same gusto that Talon did in the Hell Case, I'm actually really optimistic that they could cause some damage. They could be that Atox. You know, you see what Atox almost did to Fly Quest. They could be that team. They could be that Dark Horse. You'd be like, oh shit, we're versing these fuckers.
Well, don't underestimate actually how good Keen and Shady are. They're at a pretty high level, and you don't think that because you hear they're in tier 2 or tier 3 in Europe. But having watched them, they're pretty good. Like that. That's the thing that I think might get us a little bit over the line is that I don't think people realize when they see it, they'll see it. They're good.
Yep. It's just the hardest part is to me. It's just I got not much to analyze from, and all I had to analyze from was that 13-3 in a pug, and I'm just like, oh, that's not too good.
Don't worry about that one. Yep. Yeah. So look, who knows? Who knows what's going? But yeah, I think the talent team is awesome. So hopefully we both get through into the closed and meet each other in the final.
Yeah. The KZG boys, when I talked to them yesterday, they were like, when they went to the HRMR close qualies that they're in, obviously, they're like, we're so fucked.
No, look, you never know. But
yeah. Like I said, KZG boys in particular, like, have you seen KZG play?
No.
Okay.
Who's in the team?
So you won't know any of them, okay? So basically...
Yeah, I will.
Oh, you may?
I know a few.
There's Hassi, Samux. They have DPR now. He's a new AWPer. Like, he's just below Pain in the tier of AWPer. Like, he's another good young AWPer. There's also his State, which is their star rifler. And I always have this thing where I remember 4 players in their team, but always forget the 5th. And they have the IGL, which I've remembered now as Mingovi. And Mingovi.
I know Mingovi.
Mingovi is the IGL that was big specialist in Overpass. But then they got rid of Overpass because I think they beat Vertex or a team, like a pretty decent team on Overpass. But that team in particular, like, they are very good. They're very good not individually. They're very good as a team, but they just don't have that star individual. You get what I mean? That can make plays.
Yeah.
And like, you know, they just said like, this is gonna be really rough for us because we are versing really good teams now.
I think that's the difference there with Talon. Like Talon, there's not one star. They're all stars. So
exactly.
Four guys could get killed, and the one left is the star.
Yeah.
And it happens every round. You've always got someone left that could take down 1v3 or 1v4. That's and over time that overwhelms teams that don't have that.
Yeah.
Look, you're always a chance. You're always. Anything's possible.
Maybe I overhang that the KCG guys were saying that. I think they're probably saying it's going to be rough because they're versing a lot of good teams. And to be fair, I think they kind of earned. I mean, the first time KCG were in Asia RMR, a lot of people were saying that they got there because of the bad bracket. Because the brackets were really skewed, that KCG did have an easy run. But they've improved tremendously since then. Like, they've gone from a team that's on the outside to actually being competitive against a lot of teams in ECL.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, well, hopefully.
Yep.
Hopefully, orgs like Talon, and I'll do the same if I can. Allows it.
Yeah.
Get an academy team. Like, why shouldn't Australia have? Why couldn't I get a KZG and call them the academy team? Like, that's how it's going to work. And then you get these kids that are up and coming, and that's how we're going to make our region better.
There is a team in particular. So I know Vantage have an academy team because Hoax has one. There's another team that Pain coaches called Above the Rest. Like, I think overall, no, it's called Above the Rest. Okay, I just forgot the name until just then. But I think a lot of the academy teams have to come from Open because a lot of teams in ECL obviously going to be competing in every Open qualifier. That's how I feel about that subject. But there's a team called Above the Rest that actually did very good in one of the qualies. They beat KZG 13-11, was very close to the BO1. But if you want to look at an academy team potentially, you could look at them. They looked pretty good.
Yeah, well, hopefully that's what we do. You know,
Yep.
We get it. Maybe FlyQuest too as well. Imagine FlyQuest, Talon, us, Rooster even. Like Rooster should. I can't believe no one's picked up Rooster. Like,
yeah, I think the hardest part in particular, like this is about the academy team, is that the scene's really small, and if you pick up an academy team, that means they can't go into any of the open qualifiers because of obviously the rules.
Yeah, we'll change the rules for AU.
Easier said than done, but you know what they're there for. But I can understand your point of view.
Just change it, mate. We're gonna if I had an academy team and we came up against our academy team, I would want our guys to slaughter.
It's still conflict of interest at the end of the day, and you get the journos writing it up, and they're right. You know, at the end of the day, yeah.
All right, well, I think I better go.
Yeah, I think that I was going to wrap it up. Like, that was going to be my last question. You want to say anything to the AU scene or anyone like that? You know, to your fans, to your supporters?
I don't know. Do we have fans and supporters? Do we? I'm not sure.
You scared them all off, mate. Come on. Come on, let's go.
How did I scare them off? What do I do? What do I do to scare them off?
The talent post, man. You scared them.
Yeah, well, see.
Because they say good things, okay? Don't worry about it. Just ignore that, okay? I'm just.
There's a backstory to that. There's a backstory.
I'm just having a bit of a meme. Just having a bit of a joke, okay? I don't know the backstory. I'm just being.
I was a bit jealous. You know, they got the DJL. Like, I love DJL. I thought he was going to coach us.
Anyways.
No, look. So yeah, we're going to engage. We're going to engage our hopefully our fan base get something. I'm going to try and get some cool things to give away, like prizes and stuff. You buy them. You know, like I've got a couple of contacts in the corporate Grand Prix world, so I'll try and get a couple of tickets, stuff like that. I'm gonna do something to engage it. But yeah, we've got our jersey coming out soon, so and pretty cool.
Where can we find that jersey in the future? Like, you know, where will we post it? Will we post it on @Semper Fi ESC on Twitter?
Once we get it finalised, it's nearly finalised, then I'll let you guys know.
Okay, I'll just link your Twitter anyway, just in case people want to go in.
And but I'm going to do things like if we get to a tournament, like a stage game, like at IEM Sydney or a DreamHack Melbourne, that I'm going to do something like a random. I'll just walk around and just pick someone, or the cameraman, with our jersey on, and I'll give them a, tickets to Singapore Grand Prix in a corporate box, stuff like that. So I want to look up into the crowd and see, crap loads of our jerseys. Yeah, so we'll do stuff like that. We're going to engage. I'm going to get our team. I'm not going to give away too much, but our guys are going to be helping all of our fans. We're going to be doing personalized coaching, stuff like that. We're going to do heaps of stuff. That's the plan.